that's a bigger threat to your business than not taking advantage of this next era of intelligence, if you like. So figuring that out is one of the most important things you can do in your businesses right now that's going to affect your next decade. In terms of the personal use of, we have to advise our students this, we have to advise our staff and our employer partners this. Always remember that whatever you get out of a large language model, ChatGPT or anything on the internet, whether it's AI or not, if you're putting your name to it, you'd better make sure that you've checked that what the sources of what you've got are actually accurate and cogent. Yeah? Because any rubbish anybody's ever said about anything is being looked at to give you your answer. So before you put your name on it, and a PhD student is a great person to talk to about this kind of thing, because their thesis has their name on it. They are judged on the the incremental knowledge for humankind that they have created. That's why you get your PhD. So their approach is nothing's going in there unless it's checked, double checked, treble checked, and my name is going on it. So that's what we teach our students, our staff. Just make sure you know what your sources are, and there are techniques for doing that with ChatGPT, and some of the other language models, so that as part of asking it your question, get it to tell you its sources, and get it to rate itself in terms of the efficacy of its answer.
Yeah, good point.
And these are things we teach. There's a standard format, if you like, and I'll try and make one up. So if I was asking ChatGPT about something, acting as a business consultant and commercial specialist based in the northwest of England, so you're giving it its role, analyse the Pendle Council area in terms of commercial business, size, demographic, business sector, highlight any successful businesses, and also highlight for me any businesses that are struggling, and provide case studies on the success stories for Pendle businesses over the last decade, full stop. Quote your sources, rate your answer, and provide suggested follow-up questions. Yeah. So that's a message format there that I've got pretty much right.
I like that.
And you can do that for anything you want to know about anything. And there's about 7 segments to that where you ask it a question. That didn't exist 12 months ago. It's a fast-moving, fast-evolving thing. So sorry to go on, but I think my main point is, if you're putting your name on it, make damn sure you're happy to put your name on it. All that rubbish that it might have spouted back to you.
Really good point. Really good point. Thank you. So, I mean, obviously education, usually we'd see the education sector being closer to the cutting edge than kind of smaller businesses are. I'd like to, Shem wasn't recording it, but we could have used that prompt would have been really useful for us. It'll save us a few weeks there. Let's get some of these dark stories out of the way then, and we'll raise the mood slightly shortly. It's going to kill the planet, isn't it?
We carry on like this, yeah.
Tell us more about it. This terrified me. I was going to go off grid completely when you told me this.
Just one stat, they're looking at Facebook are building 10 new data centres. Each data centre is the size of Manhattan Island. You can power it needs enough power to power 1 million houses. That's just one of Facebook's data centres. So they've all got
much water.
The water, and again, can we afford that power usage for dancing cats? So whenever we're looking at it, some of it is very productive. Most of what we see with AI generated is just frivolous use of energy.
And the other is not necessarily the environmental costs, but the actual monetary costs. We're in a stage at the minute where the AI companies are subsidising the usage. Eventually, they're going to start charging for it, and it's going to cost a lot for businesses. So it may cost as much as an employee, to go back to your point. To actually.
I was astonished ChatGPT that it's free and you can just ask it anything and it tells you anything. It's so very interesting.
Well, nothing's free, is it? Because it's using, at the minute, they're using your data train.
Yeah.
So Meta, I think, have just announced that you can do all these fancy things with your photographs. It'll suggest which photographs to enhance and whether you should post them or not. It's using that data to train itself and get better.
On that point, you can turn it off.
You can turn it off.
So it is hidden away. It's not obvious, but it's in the settings for ChatGPT. You can turn off that your data doesn't go into the model.
Yeah, good point. Other concerns are from a cybersecurity perspective. This bothers me. There was something in the education sector I saw recently. Nursery.
My competitor actually.
Is it?
Thank
Is
God.
it? Well, I'm not recording, so feel free to.
I don't know if that was necessarily down to AI. It was just down to a couple of young hackers.
Oh yeah.
So basically they got into a nursery chains system which was provided by our competitor, which I was very grateful for, and they tried to ransom the nursery group. I don't know how much of the problem was specifically down to our competitor and how much of it was down to individuals and lax policy at the nursery group, but I think security is a massive concern. I think one of the concerns that I've got currently is probably an extension to that, which is, at the moment we're willingly giving the AIs all of our data, as much, sometimes in a controlled way, sometimes in not a controlled way, but we want it because we want the answers and we want the memes and we want the fun stuff that goes with it. But what I don't think is necessarily going into it is the safety mechanisms now. There was just coming back to, when did AI start? There's a guy, I've forgotten his name now, that's considered to be the godfather of AI. He's an English guy from the 70s.
Andrew.
I've totally forgotten what his name, but I watched a podcast with him, I watched a video cast, and he said, look, it's super intelligence. It's where if the AI is allowed to go unchecked, at which point does it become cleverer than us and limit our ability to put those checks in? But to Gary's point, it's not in the AI provider. It's not in ChatGPT's or OpenAI's interest or Google's interest to put those checks in now, because that's going to affect their share price.
Yeah. I think unless we, one of the biggest dangers for me is that unless we change our tact, we're going to go into a death spiral, because we're using it and stopping young people becoming experienced adults, mature professionals, which then creates a shortage of professionals, which then puts more focus on using AI to fill that void, and it's going to cycle out of control basically until we have no experts left.
So we're essentially dumbing ourselves down
Yes.
to the next generation. We're losing the capability to think for ourselves or to be patient or even think. That's a concern of mine, particularly obviously I've got children who are young adults now as well. I'm concerned about the future for them. But I always have hope as well at the same point, so the answers may be closer than we expect.
I think the technology may provide the problems, but it also may provide the answers. I mean, you touched on a good point there. The internet's only been around for a certain amount of time, and I think as a society, we've not really come to grips with the impacts of that. We've not come to grips with the impacts of what social media is doing to kids, people, society in general. But also it is bringing hope as well. I think we're working with a project at the minute where it is a Pendle project actually, and it's they go on walks and bring disparate groups of people together to talk, and they'll have round tables where they'll talk as different groups, people who are angry at each other, who are trying to find common ground. And the project that we're trying to work with is that they want like an AI avatar that will fact check in real time the conversation and sort of interject with, sorry John, that's not quite right what you said, this is the actual thing. Now, we're not there yet. There's problems with latency. There's a whole. The answers are coming like 2 or 3 minutes after the actual conversations. So there's technical problems which will change. That will change. And the client wants like a holographic sort of max headroom head. You know, that's the bit he's interested in, not the actual stuff that makes it work. But things like that, again, that's going to become more prevalent as well. So it may, there's hope as well as downsides.
With any technology, there's risks and possibilities, isn't there?
And solutions that it may afford as well.
Yeah.
We've had this problem for history.
Yeah.
Industrial revolution. It put so many the new machines put thousands of spinners out of a job.
Yeah.
What did is upskill? Went in a different direction. And this is what we'll do. There's jobs now that you don't know exist, or don't exist yet.
Yeah.
In 20 years' time, our children will be doing those jobs.
Yeah, we just don't know. It may actually be a much better future than we're assuming.
Yeah.
But we're told not to use if you don't use calculators when I was at school, using my ZX Spectrum, apparently that was a bad thing, but it's not affecting me much. I'm not addicted to technology in the slightest now.
A year ago, a prompt engineer wasn't a job.
Yeah.
And now
That's a job now. Just writing prompts. Wow, that's exciting. So let's lighten the mood a little bit. So when we're moving back to a little bit of positivity. I'm thinking from a perspective of the great business owners in Pendle in this region. You know, what can we take from this? You know, so we've got people who work in creative sectors, in the food sector, in the professional services sectors, design sectors, security, entertainment, engineering. I'm trying to remember everybody. And construction. What are the opportunities that you see, panel, that you know where we can actually go? Actually, this could be a force for good for us. What tips have we got there? We'll do tips later, but let's do.
I think you've just got to embrace it. I think you've got to embrace it in a controlled way. It's to that gentleman's point earlier on. If we don't, then we're going to, whichever way, we're going to get left behind because other people will. And it's certainly giving me answers that would take me weeks to find. It's not that I wouldn't have found the answer and I wouldn't have come to that conclusion, but I can be a lot more productive and get more done. So that, in one aspect, has got to be good for the local business community, and it's got to be good for the local economy, because everybody, a rising tide lifts all boats, kind of thing. Is that actually an expression? So something like that.
Let's fact check it on ChatGPT.
Something like that.
But I think it's a really good point. You know, that is kind of the main thing that I think most small businesses will go, it's going to save me time. You know, therefore saving me time, that would equate to saving me money. So have you got a particular tip that you'd share with, you know, with anyone in particular? Like, let's keep it really super simple.
I don't know if I've got a specific tip.
I'm going to ask everybody this question.
I'd say whatever you're using, do it in a controlled way and be careful about what you put in there.
Yeah.
That would be a tip from my point of view.
So that's kind of
you feed in the machine and
protecting yourself on that.
Yeah.
So like well, is that just go to premium versions of ChatGPT, for example, or turn your settings off? What we're talking about?
Just don't put anything confidential.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like, so if I'm going to put a contract in there that I want to, and I had to do it the other day for variants of a similar contract, and I needed to make sure there were certain clauses in there, but I made sure I took out any reference to whose contract it was, or but you know, within, and this is sort of back to the solicitor's point earlier on, you know, that literally took ChatGPT 20 seconds to analyse 5 different contracts. It would have cost me 500, 600 quid to go to a lawyer.
Yeah. So we use it to analyse data for us. That's going to speed time up.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, don't put sensitive data in there.
Yeah.
Just be careful. If you want your chatbot that's open to the public to have all your company info so it can make the right decision, but you've got, you know, your company info is you know, what you charge, you know, what you trade, your retail prices and what your stock prices, and somebody could type in, you know, what's the stock price for this, or where can I get it cheaper? That's not a clever business decision. You know, don't, just because you can open up all these silos of information, like emails, you know, make sure that there's security in place and that you understand what the implications are of that. I think we discussed in the meeting before, was it Jill who mentioned that there was somebody who typed in what's the salaries the people in the company, and because they'd opened up all this information and that was freely available to somebody who could get access to it. So just be mindful. And one of the things when I spoke before about where we're doing screen recordings, we anonymise the data before it goes into anywhere we can store it. So all forums are blanked out and stuff like that, because we know that could potentially be a huge security risk.
Yeah.
I mean, serious security issues.
Yeah, with the data that we hold.
With the data that we hold.
100%.
You just, you wouldn't send a credit card in the post with just a stamp on it that had all your mates on it. So, you just got to kind of understand what the implications of these things are. But if you start small, it's because that's gone into a negative, so I'm going to talk about it. For a positive thing, I would say start small. Start now. Look at some. Again, look at the problem that you've got with your business as something that will save you time. So it might be meetings take too long. Something that you said, Andy, that was quite interested in
I said something interesting.
that you said.
Yeah,
You said
thank you.
that you would send an AI meeting assistant to a meeting that you couldn't attend.
Yeah.
That is brilliant.
It literally saves so much time for me.
It's probably saying that you do too many meetings.
I definitely do too many meetings, but that's a conversation for later. Actually, no. Self-imposed, by the way. Well, no, just on that, yeah, there are some meetings with some organisations you don't need everybody turning up for. You just tell me the summary notes, what do I need to know, and I'll get on with it. That's all I need to know. I don't have to spend 2 hours of my life listening to somebody ramble on about something. I'm from a corporate background, by the way, so I've left that, I'm better now. But it's a really good point.
If you're a small business and you've got a website, then maybe a chatbot that's just trained on the content of your website might be something that saves you phone calls, or maybe a booking system that you might be able to use that will work for you. Those things could really save you time. Those are the sorts of things that you should be embracing, and they're not huge amounts of money. You don't need a team of software engineers to develop this for you. There are things that are off the shelf that you can try. Test them first, please test them first. But just to see if it does save you any time. It's like with anything, is it? If you tune in a car, the 70% of it costs tuning to 70% is quite cheap. From 70% to 90% is expensive, and from 90% to 100% is really expensive. It's the same. You can make some good gains with not too much money.
I like that. Some really good points there. Just think about some of the practical implications of that. I was working with a client who was creating a new role in his business. We didn't have a clue what salaries to look for, so we just asked AI, looking at this sector, this type of job, this kind of experience, what would the salary range be in Lancashire, in this area? And it came back with all the data and go, for your business, this is probably about right. And I didn't have a clue. It would have been hours worth of research if we wouldn't have found it in the first place. So it's so it can be very useful in that. Aneesa, give us something positive to think about.
So in my previous role, worked with lots of micro to small businesses. I've just got to reiterate what you said. Really, it can be so time saving for small businesses who might not be experts at doing everything. What I find is that small business owners don't have the expertise to know everything. You've got to learn HR, you've got to learn about accounting and payroll and marketing. You've got to become an expert in everything almost. So see AI as your friend is what I would say. Use it safely, obviously, but and start small. Yeah, start small. Maybe start like Emma, for example, when you're doing your bridal sort of visits in the bridal shop. Like if you get permission, why not flick on a transcriber so that you can solely concentrate on your brides and not have to think about remembering. I mean, I know you would do that anyway, but it can just back up because it might pick up something that you may have forgotten, for example, that you can go back and look at later. So in terms of, I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's been a game changer for me. I haven't thought about the dark side of AI before, other than the security side of things, to be honest, like being quite mindful of what I'm putting out there, especially under the Pendle Council umbrella. Like I wouldn't want to put us at risk in any sort of way. So yes, AI is your friend if you use it responsibly, is what I would say.
Yeah, good advice. reminded me of a couple of things out there. I used to hate chatbots. Anybody else hate chatbots when you go on a website? Despise them. Right? Because you just send around in circles. But
different people.
they are getting
different
so
things.
much better now. And to your point, you know, there are some off-the-shelf ones you can just literally plug in, give it some like questions and answers, and it will learn from your answers. And even if somebody's going around in circles, it will just ping your message. You go, somebody's struggling here, so you can just literally say, "I'll go on live now." So technology is getting so much better. There's been so many applications to your point again about, you know, from a small business perspective, you know, help me put a business plan together based off my information. Just ask me questions, you know, help me to do a SWOT analysis. There's things that most people, when I speak with people in business, go, and I ain't got that. Most people haven't got a business plan, a marketing strategy, or a plan for anything. For me, using data and using, you know, an AI model can put strategies together that would take me a long time and save so much time. So from a strategic perspective, it does the grunt work, the heavy lifting for most of the clients that I work with. I want to finish off with the genuine AI expert, Darren. You know, you've depressed us enough now with, you know, the planet's going to be burning, we're going to be living in the Matrix, we're going to be living underwater. But no, you haven't. You've given us a lot of insights. Give us some tips. Let's have a look at some tips. Something positive, something not
I
so
think
positive.
the easy tip is just try it out. If you're planning on going away abroad for holiday, asking for a travel itinerary, asking for things to do, asking to choose restaurants. It's things that you'd normally ask a friend about. But treat it pretty much like you would Dave from the pub. He's got an opinion there.
Yes.
Some of it's true, you know some of his stuff, but a lot of it's excuse the language, bullshit. He's made up, but you use your intelligence to weed it out. The clues in the names, but we all talk about ChatGPT, but it means generative, pre-trained, transformer. So it's generative, it creates something new. It's pre-trained, it's based on existing knowledge that you've seen before, and T for transformer, it modifies it to suit your exact question. So it's basically tweaking what it's already heard before, but it's not coming anything unique. It's just regurgitating and modifying something that it's already seen.
Got you.
Really good predictive text.
Exactly. That's what it is.
It's trained on a massive amount of data.
Yes.
It
But
doesn't
just-
always get predictive,
But
etc.
making it really specific, like you were saying, just back to the travel thing, I was looking at, I really want to go to Seoul next year, and I just asked ChatGPT to tell me the top 10 things to do, and it just regurgitated out, and I thought, well actually, I like food, and I like markets, and I like heritage, and I like arts, so I asked it then to pull out the top 10 things based on my likes, based on the things that I like, and this is what I did on my last trip when I went somewhere, and it completely changed the top 10 based on what my likes were. So you do really need to play around with it.
So what it's doing behind the scenes, it's modifying the prompts.
Yes.
That's your first question, it's added then. So it's got lots of great feedback in there now. So have you considered this? How about if I do it this way? Do you want me to write it in this certain tone of voice? And what it's doing behind the scenes is it's increasing that question you're asking here to make it more precise, to match better what are the answers.
So maybe use more suitable prompts, which are
The longer the better. The more detail you can give, the better the answer.
Ask the question.
Yeah.
You can get an AI to write your prompt. If you
Yeah.
want.
So one final tip, if you ever use, like mentioned, like Gary talking about websites, and you want an image to do a certain thing, like a table with a cup on it, find one you like. You don't know whether someone's got a copyright on it. Ask the AI what prompt it would generate to produce that image again, and then put that prompt back into it, and then you've got an image you want.
Describe this. Send it back.
And
Please design this.
Yes.
Please create that. Got it. So that it's not copyright.
It will say the legal.
Somebody else with the copyright that they're entitled to.
No, it's your copyright at the moment in time. It's just good. It might change in the future.
But you're using somebody else's copyrighted image to create your.
No, because the image doesn't exist.
Right, okay.
So it's extracting what it sees in the image to produce a prompt. You're putting that prompt back in again. So, and it is.
Sounds a bit dubious, but.
No, well, for now it's legal, and that's the best way to do it.
For now, for now. That's a really good segue. Thank you for asking that question. Right. So now you've been sat there as a very, very patient panel, audience to the panel. What questions have we got? So who wants to go first? Who wants to ask something challenging questions of our panel?
Wow.
Thank you.
Right, one of you mentioned PowerPoint earlier. So I do a lot of PowerPoint presentations on old-fashioned way, but I drag in loads of images off the internet, and I've started using ChatGPT to make them a bit more personal, treat them whatever. But one that I did was about 150 slides long. It took me about 3 months to do it.
Yeah.
So is one of the AI things that can do it for me and just tell it what I want, and then just bang, bang, bang.
Exactly that.
Is it
Gamma.
literally the chat or the?
It's gamma.app, and
The
you
Gamma
can
one.
and
So
you,
can you literally talk to it and tell it the sort of content you want, and it will?
well, I don't know about physically verbalising it, but you can certainly type in there. So similarly, it'll create the prompt.
Does that go into PowerPoint automatically, or do you have to?
It can be exported into PowerPoint. So it creates it in its own set of slides, and then you can export it into a number of different formats. But what you can do is you can take any kind of content. So the example I gave was that using GPT to summarise a plan or something like that, I'd then say, can you create a PowerPoint out of this? It's a really basic black and white PowerPoint. But then if you upload that into Gamma, then you can either preserve it, so it just makes it look prettier, the content's the same, or it can continue to generate or transform that content, so the thread's still the same. And then what it'll do is it'll then sort of suggest the prompt that it's working to. So what language is it going in? Do you want a particular set of image libraries or something like that? So I did a presentation for an all hands meeting, and I don't usually let the system generate the pictures, because sometimes it comes up with something that's good and sometimes it comes up with something really wacky. And I left one of these pictures in, and when you actually zoomed in on it, it was just bizarre, the image that it created. So I just make sure I put no pictures in there. But literally, the minute you press go, it just cracks on. It'll go through all the slides. You can then check them all to make sure it's fine. But it's literally formatted. It's everything's aligned. Everything's got, it's formatted in a particular way. And then I just export to Google Slides and it's done.
So PowerPoint presentations, I think a lot of people use PowerPoint presentations, whether it's an application for something or present to a potential client. What are the considerations that you put into, if you're going to ask the AI agent to do that?
How do you mean? So
what would it, what do we think about, like potential client you were looking for, or who's the audience, the number of people in the audience, how many slides, how long have we got, what the
So I guess from my own experience, I'd probably have had that in ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is creating the structure of the presentation,
right,
and what would in theory go on each slide. And then all I do is say, right, create it as a PowerPoint. It then creates an attachment that I then upload into Gamma. And then from Gamma, like I say, you can either just preserve the content that's already been suggested, or it will just transform it.
Is that a paid service, or is there a free version?
I think there's a free version. I use one, it's like 20 quid a month. But I do a lot for my team, a lot for presentations to boards and things like that. But I'm not. This is why I said I've got that weird imposter thing going on. Have I actually created this or not? But actually, I know what I'm talking about. So the content was mine. But I'm not that good on making things line up in PowerPoint.
Great question, thank you.
Just a snippet to hopefully help on that. So just looking at a ChatGPT question I did yesterday, and the last thing it says back to me is, if you like, I can put together a slide deck or an infographic summarising the thing I was asking about for teaching and training purposes. Would that be useful? You say yes, and it'll create a slide deck for you.
You usually find that the things that are more specialised for that platform usually do a better job than something more generalised. They have some complexity, like office slides and stuff, but usually they're a bit rubbish. I mean, I don't know if you ever asked, we asked ChatGPT to do some, we wanted some SVG, so vector graphics, of things from the northwest, and it came up with Blackpool Tower that was like 2 sticks and a cross and a thing on top, obviously. It was just like Blackpool Tower. So again, we used the right tool for the job. With that, what we did was then we generated some images and then vectorised them rather than asking it to do the thing. So it's finding a way around things, but usually something that's very good in one domain, like creating slides or something, is much better than a more generalised.
Yeah. So use the right tool for the job.
Use the right tool for the job?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Don't use an hammer, you need a screwdriver.
Everything.
What would work for me then? So I obviously Excel file addresses. spend a lot of my time roaming around the countryside, hugging trees, clambering up Pendle Hill, and so I'd love to do like shoots with my dressers, like at the top of Pendle Hill, for example. But I don't want to drag them all up there with models and get them all filthy and trashed, and it's probably going to be raining and misty, and they're all going to get wet through. What would the app be that I would use to create something like that without actually having to do it?
I would use, so you need the shoot first, so you'd be shooting in a studio, shooting in wherever you're taking the photographs. Background of the movie.
Yeah, so I've got like the OG images that the designers send me, but they're just a bit boring because they're just like stood there. But it would be how to put like an AR model on those and then change where they're going to be, or am I just getting too complicated for my own good now?
You could try, no, it's doable, very
That's what was
doable.
on telly last night.
Oh, but I need to watch that programme, don't I?
So there's something called foul AI.
Don't get me notepad out. Notes.
It's a bit, so there's hundreds of models in it, and they're adding to it all the time, and it's more for API use, so
What's it called?
FAL.
F-A-L. Okay.
And you can use it programmatically, so you could write something that would then create the models, create the photographs, videos or whatever, into image to image, image to text. You can play with that, so there's like a user interface as well. You would ask AI to ask you to tell you what the best model will be to use, and then import your image and then do something. Sometimes it will be great, sometimes it will be a bit more challenging. It is good fun, yeah.
You can also try Gemini's Nano Banana,
Yeah.
so which is
In
Google's.
fact, I'm going to use my notebook. Shoot me now. Shoot me now, the notebook's coming out.
Yeah.
What's that?
Nano Banana.
Oh, spell that to me.
Nano Banana. So it's Google's AI, it's an image generation tool. Like anything, so like Gary was saying, just test it. Sometimes it gets it right, sometimes it doesn't.
And it's changing all the time as well. There's new stuff coming out all the time, so just test it.
Yeah.
Time for any more quick questions? Who's got a burning question for the panel?
Do we know whether it takes your information and gives it to somebody else? So if you make something in AI, can it remake this and give it, not just give it to somebody else?
So you won't, you mentioned this before, so
Yeah.
it's not design.
Unless you tell it otherwise with ChatGPT, it can end up in the model.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's how unique it is. So if you tell it to be generic, somebody in Nelson did X, Y, Z, it doesn't make any difference. If it's a national insurance number, something like that, then you don't know. People are using it a lot more for as a personal assistant. So you could be having somebody who's telling it on a personal level they've got suicidal thoughts. If your name is unique and national insurance number, somebody else will tell me what do you know about this national insurance number. It comes out.
Terrified. Any other quick questions before we wrap up? Wow, that was genuinely insightful from human beings and not AI as well.
That's what you think.
Really stand up. Where is it? We've got a great opportunity for the next 20-ish minutes to our panel have kindly agreed to stick around. Volunteers today, by the way, we've not paid them anything. We did tell you that before, didn't we? We just sent you the script on ChatGPT. Just turn up, send us an invoice, we'll pay it in 5 years. No, genuinely, really appreciate you spending your time. Thank you for taking your time to come and visit us today. So you've now got another 20 minutes or so to stick around, maybe have one-to-ones. We'll come back to the table. Bit of open networking as well, of course. If you're a Pendle business and you need some support, then myself, Jill and Aneesa are more than happy to help you if you want to hear more about the community that we're growing in the area. So before we do that, I just want to say thank you. Can we have a big round of applause for our panel? For Andrew for the facilities and the coffee and the tea and the water.